Sorry. Hi. I was like shocked. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Quest Show. Hi, I am your host, Lana Quest, and this is my lovely co-host,
Honor.
Honor. How are you?
Glad
Honor?
to be back.
Yes, and we have a special guest in the building. Actually, he is our first guest in the building. Yes, Bad Brad Berkwitt. He is an activist. He has a YouTube show. We're going to let him tell you all about what he's been doing out here in these streets. But first, you know the routine. Hit that thumbs up button, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Tell everybody that we're on. Come on, guys, let's get this going. Actually, we're going to do something a little different today. We're going to have sort of a round table, and we're going to talk about a little bit about race, politics, how to be a good ally. So there's some people that need to be watching this right now. If you're fragile, we don't care.
We need you to watch.
We need you to want you to watch. We need you to watch. Exactly.
And bring a friend.
Bring your friends. Exactly. So Brad,
yes.
Tell the people about yourself, what you've been doing, what you got going on.
Okay. Well, as far as, like you said, activism side, you mentioned my show, which is the Bad Brad Berkwitt Show on the Ringside Report Web TV channel. So check us out. As Lana said, subscribe as well to our channel. Support this channel. This is how we create a movement. I'm hearing like feedback.
Is that me? Was that me or you?
That was me. Sorry.
See?
Fix it.
You know, it's funny. When I used to do TV in Maryland and for the DMV, News Channel 8 with Sports Talk Show with Glenn Harris, people would call in live and ask me questions. But they turn their TV up all the way.
Yes.
And you're like, you have to turn it off because I can't, the reverb back in the studio.
Right.
So as well, I have a website called ringsidereport.com with a lot of resistor writers on there. We cover everything, not just sports. That was initially what we used to cover, boxing, because that's what I'm known for. But check us out there. And that's really about it. That's the two things I always promote now is my show and the website.
You're being modest. You
really are.
You boxed, right?
I boxed as an amateur, yes.
Right,
yes.
But aren't you in the Hall of Fame or something?
I am in the Hall of Fame. Yes.
See, come on, he's being
modest,
everyone.
Yeah, well, you know,
being modest.
I'm being modest. Okay. So yes, in June, thank you. I was inducted into the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame.
That's amazing, actually. That's great.
Yeah, it's the.
It really
you can see Can you see it? The ring.
Wow.
Nice.
What was your record?
I was an amateur, so I had quite a few. I always tell people quite a few fights as an amateur. I didn't fight as a pro, and I got inducted under being a journalist. So I've been a journalist about boxing since 1997, and then in 2002 is when my book came out. Boxing Interviews of a Lifetime, and I still cover
There's a book to go along with the boxing
and the Hall of Fame. Like exactly. He's like, all I'm doing is like, I'm just doing activist. You know, I got a YouTube show.
Well, you know what it is. No, you know what it is. Honestly, is that I'm so passionate about my activism now that I want. Even my publicist was like, "Well, you got to talk about these other things." I understand because it shows diversity and you know, and of course the military side. But I'm so passionate about moving humanity forward, what's going on with policing and what's going on, what's continuing to happen to the African-American community and the LGBTQ community. And we'll get into those type of things that really I'll use my platform, which of course those things got me out there, but it's more important to me now to activism side. My publicist was like, well, you know, you may have to talk about this. I said, I know, but I really like talking about things to me that are really, really important. And that's what's going on with humanity. I appreciate it. And I don't have a problem plugging my stuff, but I really want to get out there about being an actor because of my father. If you saw the video that I post up on YouTube quite a bit, my father was an activist. He marched with Dr. King in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
He fought against Anita Bryant in the 70s when she was saying gay people are going to corrupt your children if they teach all of that nonsense.
Right.
So, but that's my story. So it's your show, wherever
it's a great, no,
wherever you want to go.
Right. Well, you know where we're going. So I'm sure everyone watched the election results as they came in. Anna and I were on. We were watching it and we had to turn it off. So let's talk about young Ken just a little bit, not a lot, because we're going to talk about allies. And, you know, these elections are always pivotal, right? We need certain segments of people to vote a certain way. White women tend to be out of pocket a lot, and not all of them, but there's a lot that vote against their best interest for some reason. So what do you think, Brad? Like, because how can these people be better allies? Do you think that, like, I don't want to call them racist, but if you're voting for a racist, like what?
No, I will. I'll say it.
Well, okay,
I'll say
it.
I'm the Caucasian one in the panel. I'll say it. I will say it. I'm Italian and Russian, but if I check a box, I'm Caucasian. And I'm trying to be as fair as I can be. I call everybody out if I think it's hypocrisy, if I think it's racism, discrimination. Nobody's off limit. White, black, LGBTQ. If somebody's doing something wrong that I think they're doing wrong, I'm going to call it out. So in answer to your question, it's the $64,000 question. And not just Youngkin, back it up to Trump, because really it goes back to Trump.
Right.
He's a misogynist. He's a pig. He has no respect for women. He calls heavyset women fat when he's morbidly obese. And I'm not making no jokes. I'm just saying what
it's a stated fact.
It's a fact.
Right.
It's a fact. Right. So yet you have white women that still vote for him. And then you have fringes of people that are black, but they sell out their race. Candy Girl Owens. Okay. I can't stand it. She supports Trump. Okay. All right. Then you have Ben Carson. You have Tim Scott. Oh, we're not. The country's not racist.
Sheriff Clark.
Right. Sheriff Joe. Right.
Herschel Walker.
Forget about it. Walker and the other guy, the one that was just in the runoff against Newsom. Larry Elder.
Larry Elder.
Yeah. Larry Elder.
Honestly, who said, and I quote, that slave owners should get reparations because their property was taken away.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say what should happen to him. I could only say what I wish would happen to him. I'm not advocating violence, but to say that out of your mouth,
right? Well,
it's disgusting.
Remember what Ben Carson said? Didn't Ben Carson say slaves were immigrants?
That I don't remember, but it sounds like something he would say.
Yeah, it was either him or Kanye. Like they're all melding, but I know Ben said something bad like that, something crazy, but
to go back to your original question was, how can white women vote for someone like Youngkin or Trump or whatever? I've asked Marielle Trump, who's a dear friend of mine. I've asked Heather Thomas, who's an activist that I've had on my show. It's like you can't answer the question other than if you equate it to they hate the same things, or they are in a relationship where maybe the husband is a strong Trumpian, and they have been, I won't say raised, but conditioned to think that their only job is to be in the bedroom when they want to have sex, in the kitchen when they want to have dinner. And it's that 1950s with the apron, and the woman is a second-class citizen, which I have a very hard time with that and that type of ideology. As well, when he kept saying Cory Booker, of all people to pick Cory Booker, he doesn't come off as, I got nothing against Cory Booker, but he's not like intimidating, like he's going to kick your ass. Remember, Cory Booker was going to come to the suburbs. Remember when he was pushing that during the campaign? Well, that was to push and scare white people, but white women as well.
Cory Booker.
And you're saying Cory, right? Now, Cory, let's put it in context. Cory Booker.
Right, Cory Booker. Cory Booker. Who does Cory Booker intimidate? I mean, I think does he date? Is it Rosario Dawson he dates?
Yes, he does.
Okay, Rosario
very
Dawson.
Beautiful
Rosario Dawson,
right.
Beautiful woman. She intimidates me more than Cory Booker does.
Right.
I mean, come on, let's be honest. But I other than they hate the same things, and they are conditioned to maybe follow what the husband does, or what they saw from their dads. I just don't get it. How any woman, white women, because that was the biggest block that voted, that actually a lot of them got peeled off and came on the Biden side. But as a mother, how could you be okay seeing kids in cages and still think that's okay? You know, it's like Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney is a mother, right? People want to give her so much credit because now she's saying it was an insurrection on January 6th and all stuff. If you didn't know, and I'm sure both of you know because you're in the mix, she voted for Trump in 2020. And so did Adam Kinzinger, voted for Trump. And this is fact. This isn't made up. Voted for him. So after all those bad things that he did, you still found it in you as a woman to vote for him.
Yeah, forget Liz Cheney. She voted against voting rights. Like,
she voted like 93% of the time with Trump. More so, I think, than even Jim Jordan, or GYM as we spell it, not Jim. You know, which is ridiculous. But so that's my answer. I mean, other than they hate the same things and they have maybe a ideology or a mentality of being back in the 50s where they were second-class citizens. A lot of them, they stayed in a home and they weren't allowed to have any political opinions. And if they thought somebody was handsome and they said it to the husband, they got smacked in the face because, you know, somebody can't have an opinion of somebody. So that's honestly all I can think of. Other than that, I don't know.
But here's the thing. I was going to say, you go to the voting booth by yourself, right? Like your husband is not standing there making you better fill in that blue dot for Trump or Youngkin or Herschel Walker or whoever it may be the next time. So I buy that, but then I don't buy that. And then you say, you know, they weren't allowed to express other men being attractive. There are some women that act like Trump is model of the last 10 years. Like they really seem to have this thing where they're just in love with him. And I don't understand that at all.
Well, that's why I feel they hate the same things.
Well, with Trump, it's strength, right? So here's the thing. A lot of women are confused by that, right? They think all that bluster and all of that, you know, he says whatever he wants, right? So that means
he's not PC.
Right, he's not PC. So they
find him great,
right? And
edgy.
they think right, and they think he's strong and he's so brave when he's literally a punk bone spurs. Like it's so insane and dizzying. And you're right, they're absolutely racist. Like that is just the black bottom line of this, because there's no way that you can't vote for a racist and not be racist.
Right.
And the driving factors here that the Republicans keep using is race. Like when have they not used race? Trump came down the elevator and the first off the top, Mexico is bringing rapists. Like
they're rapists and murderers, but some of them might be okay.
Right. Off the top. And Republicans were like, oh shoot.
He's done. They said he was done.
Right. But it worked. So they're like, we're going to use it. And we watched Cornell today talk about the Southern strategy. And he was absolutely right. CRT is a Southern strategy. Black history is a Southern strategy. They're using all of these things to enrage folks that are already racist at the core, because this is not going to enrage anti-racist, right? It's going to enrage the soft racists. The people are like, oh no, I'm not racist. Why would you call me racist? Because you do racist things. It's really
but it's also, I get tired of this talking point when it comes to that, where they say, well, I don't like the things he says, but I like his policies. No, you own everything. If you like me, you own my good and my bad and my indifferent. You don't get to pick and choose what traits of an individual you like. He's a racist. He's proven it. He's a misogynist. He's narcissistic. He's all of those things. So if you like his policies, okay, great. You like his policies, but you own all of his bad things too, which his policies suck too. But you own it all. You don't get to make that statement about, oh, I don't, he talks too much, or I don't agree with that. No, that's the way he is. You own all of it. 360.
Right. Absolutely. So, back to the allyship and more broader, the voting patterns that are out there. You hear a lot, there's a lot of not all, but yeah, kind of all. So how do we relay what being an ally? Some people think they're allies and they really aren't. You're not an ally if you are voting Republican secretly because, you know, that's your husband and your mentality. You're not an ally if you are not willing to listen to Black people and other people of color when they're sharing their experiences. When you feel the need to kind of inject yourself, and unfortunately, white women do this a lot. They'll inject their experience into the conversation. I think sometimes thinking maybe they're being, you know, portraying empathy. But then when we say, well, you know, this is kind of our space and we're just kind of sharing our experience, then they sometimes get really hostile. And it's like, okay, but you're supposed to be an ally. And the first thing an ally should do is listen to understand what we are really going through so that you can then advocate for us. Right. So like, how do we, yeah.
I agree. And to that talking point, I have put questions up where I wanted specifically either Black women or Black men or African or all across the board, men and women, to answer a question. And I've literally put, I am asking you to let African-American people answer this question. I don't need to hear from a Caucasian person this question. And even after that, because I'm always big on the two questions. I always say, these are your choices. They have to, but they feel compelled, they got to interject. That's not being an ally. That's not listening. Listen. Or they want to say, one of the things that is nails on chalkboard to me is whenever you say Black Lives Matter, they have to say, not all the time, but a lot of them have to say all lives matter. Oh, all lives matter is a given, but the most simplistic way I can say this is all lives matter when Black lives matter. And you're like, well, I don't understand that because you just said all lives matter. Right. But until Black lives matter, all lives don't matter. Right. And that's like that fallback. And I hate that talking point. It's like when we say breast cancer, you don't hear people say prostate cancer or lung cancer. It's only when you throw Black in front of lives matter. Right. Then it is all lives matter. That's a given.
That's a great point.
That's a given. And it drives me nuts. And Caucasian people a lot like to say that, and they think that they're being an ally by saying that because they're like, well, I'm saying all lives matter. No, you're minimizing when somebody says Black lives matter. Right. Okay. And they get confused around that.
Another thing that happens, going back to the listening part, is like they want to tell Black people how we should feel, right? Or what is racist and what, like, I get that a lot, like trying to tell me what's racist and what's not racist. And, you know, we're so finely tuned to it. Like, it's not a dog whistle to us. It may be a dog whistle to a non-person of color, but it's like, it's bullhorns at this point. Like we see it, we hear it, we know what it is. So they'll pop on this scene and be like, nah, I don't think that's racist, or you shouldn't feel like that. And I've had close friends that are non-people of color say, you know, oh, you're so angry right now. Like, wait, when you like, and this is like after Floyd, after all of these murders, and it's like, I'm not going to work being happy right now because I am not happy. So it's like, now Black people have to do this dance where we can't really show our feelings. We can't really be that angry because then we're like just walking around like these angry people, and we have to watch white people's feelings. Like, why do we have to watch? And that's a lot to do with these white women too. It's like they look at us in a certain way and their feelings get hurt, and they just I don't know. That's the frustrating thing for me as a Black woman.
Absolutely. And I understand. I always preface whenever I talk about Black issues, I always preface it with this. When it comes to me, I do not consider myself Black. I'm not. I cannot say what it feels to walk in a Black person's shoes, but what I can say is my experiences, because I've been around I'm not going to say the number of wives, but both of my wives were African American. So I just told myself too. And my better half now, Debbie, is African American. I was stationed in Pensacola, Florida when I was very young, when I first came in. And we call it LA, Lower Alabama, Pensacola. And I saw the racism. I saw when I would walk to the mall from our car and them say, "You N lover." And my ex-wife would say to me, and I would lose it. I would ready to go. She said, "You see the back of their pickup truck? They'd have a piece of wood and a shotgun." And it's true. This is 1987. And she said, "They will kill you and nothing will happen because this is so racist around here." So tying to what you're saying about what white people saying it, I think also, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, I also feel the part where white people talk about white privilege. Well, when you go into white privilege, I've had white people say, "I wish I had some of that white privilege." I said, when you came out the womb, you were born with it.
Right.
Now, whether you want to acknowledge it or accept it is two different things.
Right.
I know I have white privilege. I know, and I don't like this, but I don't feel bad that I have white privilege.
Right.
Where I am ashamed is that people don't use it to help out other people, especially African American people. Because unfortunately, this world, but I will talk about America, is set up that my voice counts more than your voice. And I hate that. But in a lot of times, that's true. So when they say what do you mean white privilege? Go in an interview. Go sit in front of an interview with somebody and the different races. Go on the street and scream the things that you're saying as a black person and as a white person and see in some parts of America what happens to you. But they don't
go
want
to the
celebrate
Capitol and
privilege.
protest.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
that simple.
Right. And and when they say Black Lives Matter, let's be honest. Black Lives Matter has a lot of white people in it. They have a lot of different people in it.
Right.
But they only want to attack black people most of the time because it says black, because they can't wrap their head around. I've had people say to me, "Why do they need a Black Lives Matter?" I said, for the very reason you just said it, because if you have to ask why African American people need this cause, this movement, then you're the reason why they need it, because you have no clue what's going on. And you mentioned George Floyd earlier. A terrible thing. We saw it in real time. Yet you still have people that think Derek Chauvin is a great guy. You had cops that stood by that all they had to do was knock that I don't want to curse, knock that MFer,
Right ahead.
knock that motherfucker off of George Floyd. What were they going to do? Chauvin was going to hit him, kill him, shoot him?
Right.
All they had to do was knock him off of him. And George Floyd
he would be alive.
Right.
And the assassination of black people that are like Ahmaud Arbery and George Floyd. I'm not saying George Floyd was the greatest person in the world and that he didn't do some bad things, but did he deserve to die? If he had a drug problem, whether it was drugs, whether it was prescription, whether it was illegal. So if that's the case, then all white people that have a drug problem should get a knee on their neck and they should be killed too, right? In the same situation, because you don't see that.
Right.
Well, then there wouldn't be anyone to vote for Trump.
Sorry. Say it again.
Said there wouldn't be anyone to vote for Trump.
There would be nobody to vote for Trump. But they try to assassinate his character. They try in that trial, they try to put him on trial. He was the one that was murdered. I don't care what he did in the past. What he did that particular day cost him his life. And he was on the ground, he was subdued, and that son of a bitch killed him. Now it did open a lot of eyes, white people, because with COVID, they were forced to see it. So now they had an epiphany. And they're like, oh my God, I've read about this. I've heard about it, but I never believed it. Now I saw it in real time. So some people were peeled off,
right?
And some people weren't. And the people that weren't, they're evil bastards, men, women, whoever. They're always going to be evil, period.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Go ahead.
Question. Well, this observation. One of the things that you just mentioned was white fragility. I'm sorry, white privilege.
White privilege.
And I think that is one of the most important things that allyship is about, is using your white privilege as a call to action, speaking out when you see injustices occur. Like you said, for instance, pushing the white cop off of the black man to prevent him from dying, or, in the workplace, because Black people, especially Black women, we experience microaggressions and subtle shading and things like that all the time. And we don't have anyone to speak up for us. And this goes back to white women. We do not have anyone to speak up for us. So how do we get that message across that allyship is absolutely about Black Lives Matter, but it matters in our careers. It matters in our neighborhoods. With the lady in Virginia Beach recently that had endured 4 or 5 years of her next door neighbor, blaring lights and playing monkey sounds. Like it matters all the time in all areas. How do we get allies to use their white privilege for the good?
Well,
for
let's
good
explain.
trouble.
Well, can I just let's explain what white privilege is, because that is something I really think a lot of people don't understand. It's makes sense to us, but I don't
Brad
think
to explain it. Yeah.
Well, no, well, he kind of did, but I'm gonna give it a little more basic term, and what I tell white people all the time, like, white privilege does not mean that you haven't had a hard time. Yes, there are white people who are homeless. There are white people who are broke. There are white people who are being evicted. But it means you don't have these things because of the color of your skin. The color of your skin is not precluding you from getting resources. The color of your skin is not the reason why you're being evicted or you can't get a home loan. It's none of your problems are because of the color of your skin. And that is the white privilege. Homeless white person, homeless Black person, homeless white person gets resources. Homeless Black person gets thrown in jail, possibly dies, because that has happened too. You go in jail, it's a chance you may die in jail if you're Black. So I think
that's a great talking point. I absolutely agree with everything you just said, and I've said it before. What I would like to see, because I always feel things grassroots. If we build from the bottom up and have poor white people and poor Black people are more alike. Of course, we have different color skin, but they have more in common. But what I hate to say, or I don't hate to say, but what the truth is, for whatever reason, poor white people look down on poor Black people because they think they're better than. I'm not gonna say all. I don't like to paint with broad brushes.
Yes, not all. Right.
There's a lot of, I've seen it. They look down. You see more. Honestly, I see less Black people looking down on poor white people. I see more infighting with Black people in different occasions than looking down on white people. I see them in situations hurting other Black people. I hate to say it, but it's the truth because I've seen it. But poor white people and poor Black people have to come together. But what Trump was able to do is they felt this. Trump didn't, first of all, let me preface it with this. Trump did not start racism in this country. And if you say that, that's a statement that makes no sense. It's been around forever. What Trump did was, where he was going to drain the swamp, he did. He made it comfortable for these people to now say and do whatever they want. Now, social media amplifies everything to the higher than the third power. So it's in your face every second of every day. Okay? And you have to be smarter sometimes than what you see, because not everything you see is what it is. A lot of it is, but a lot of it isn't. You get people that manipulate videos and do a lot of crap. But he's made it now where it's comfortable for these white racists to say the things that they do. Now, being a New Yorker like I am, I remind them that Trump is 50 Secret Service agents deep. So you can't get the old Trumpy boy because he only goes to Mar-a-Lago and his joint in New Jersey. So
Absolutely.
You can't get to him, but you racists on the corner, when you open your big mouth, I can get to you. End of story. But they feel comfortable because of what he has now done. And even if Trump were to croak tomorrow, the ideology is still there. It's still there. And you mentioned about people trying to sound like him. All of these Republicans, Cruz, they're trying to be Trump. And the one thing I will give him, it's not a positive, but I will give him this. What he does, he has perfected. Cruz can't be him. Rubio can't be him. Holly can't be. His base will never accept them. Right. Never. So, the genie is out the bottle. And even if he croaks or has a stroke. The best thing is I would look. No, I'm not. But anyways, no. What he needs to have, I don't care. I'm gonna say it. He should have a stroke where he can still think, but he can't speak no more. That would be a wonderful thing. I shouldn't say that, but I'm gonna say it because I can't stand him. But I think that ties in a little bit of what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have anything, another comment on that? Oh, no, I was just going to talk about having Thanksgiving amongst your racist relatives. Like,
that's like the old thing about your uncle is a pervert, but you still invite him to Thanksgiving dinner. He's grabbing everybody's butt while you're in the kitchen, but let's just say, well, that's the way he is.
Right.
I can, it's funny, but I mean, that's not funny, but it's funny in a sense, but because it's an old analogy.
Right.
But honestly, I'm at the point where if you still accept Trump, I have nothing for you. I'm not showing you. We say, oh, we got to kill him with kindness. I got kindness for other people.
Yeah,
I'm done.
With kindness.
I'm done. And if January 6th,
MAGAs.
Yeah, MAGAs, you got to kill him with kindness. No, that doesn't work.
No, because it hasn't worked.
Right, and
it's the snowflake mentality.
Honor, here's the thing. If you kill them with kindness, these are the same people that say, fuck your feelings. This is
right.
They think kindness is weakness, but you got our side, some. Let's kill them. We got to kill them with kindness. I saw a tweet up today or early morning, because I'm basically up all the time. And it said, kill them with kindness. I said, kill them with kindness. Kindness is weak, even though to me, kindness is strength.
I'm still confused.
It's weakness.
We're being
it goes back to what you were saying about the women finding Donald Trump strong because he was an asshole.
Right.
That whole, being a bully, being powerful is attractive. So yeah, they do look at kindness as weakness because there was no kindness shown.
So who's telling to be kind?
He's incapable. Let me tell you something. If they were shooting at him, and I'm not being funny. If they were shooting at him, he'd grab one of his kids and put him in front of him. I honestly feel that. I feel that.
Yeah.
He's a pedo. Everything that he tells you he's not, he is. He was a pedophile. But we've never seen in our history, let's be honest, ladies, we've never seen in our history, when I say our history, from our generation, I'm 53, I'll be 54 in April. Republican or Democrat, say and do the things he did during the campaign, and it didn't ruin him. I'll give you a name that you may remember. Lana, you may remember. You remember Gary Hart?
I do.
Okay, Lana, do you remember what happened?
I got another one.
Okay.
Michael Dukakis.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Well, Michael Dukakis replaced him. Right. But Michael Dukakis won the nomination. Gary Hart was the front runner in 87. He got caught on his boat monkey business, which I think Jessica Hahn, no, was it? I forget the name of the lady, but she was sitting on his lap. Might have been Jessica. I can't remember. I think it was Jessica. Jessica Hahn, and that was it. He was done. This guy attacks John McCain, Senator McCain, who don't care about his politics, didn't agree with most of what he stood for. But the thing I won't let people attack him, he was a war hero. He was in a Hanoi Hilton for over 5 years. He could not lift up his arm to comb his hair. And his father was an admiral who could have got him out of there earlier. Those are facts, not alternative facts like Kellyanne Conway talks about.
Right.
He says, I like my war heroes not captured. Every veteran in America should have been outraged. And I always make a point, and I know it's not popular, but you see my shadow box back there. I will call out the military too. And I'm honored. You said something earlier about going into I'll tie it in a point you said, going into a voting booth. Nobody knows who you're voting for. You're not supposed to know.
Right.
Whether you vote Republican or Democrat or independent or Green Party or Libertarian, whatever you vote, it's supposed to be in secret. I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, it's okay.
You were going to say something. I lost my train of thought. What was I just saying?
You were talking about
the military, how they should have been outraged because I was outraged at that statement. I really was.
Right. So military people support a guy that called us a sucker and a loser. Okay. He lied about we didn't get pay raises. He gave us the biggest pay raise. I was in the military from September of 86 to September 2006. Every single year, it fluctuated. We got a pay raise. I'm almost positive my whole 20 years we got pay raise. Small, incremental, but we got pay raise. He said that he gave the biggest one lies. If after January 6th,
Mhm,
you are a active duty, hear me, active duty reservist, veteran, retiree, and you are still okay that domestic white terrorists, for the most part, attacked the Capitol, okay, was an insurrection to overthrow an election, and it was the biggest attack on democracy probably in our history since this country started. If you're still okay with Donald Trump, I don't care about your service no more, because to me, you're a traitor to this country.
right.
I don't care.
Absolutely.
I don't care if you lost a leg, you were wounded. I don't care if you're male, female, white, black, or other. If you still support this guy after January 6th, you're a traitor to this country. And there's no if. And I know a lot of veterans. I don't go in VFWs. I could go. I'm in Northwest Indiana, which is Trump country. I don't go in there because if I see him wearing that MAGA hat, I'll lose my mind. They want to say that's my president. No, first of all, he's not the president anymore. You know, so that's
right. So there's got to be a common denominator, right? It's and we just go back to racism because
and hatred.
And hatred for the other, hatred
for
the other.
And what you just said about the military, you can also extend to law enforcement.
Yes,
because the oh my gosh, I just do not understand. I mean, I understand it, but the Capitol police officers, they were battling for hours, and how you cannot even bring yourself to meet with them when they come to the Capitol. How you try to twist their testimony, and then you still won't give them any type of recognition for their bravery, for their heroics, for the ones that died, for the ones that are still suffering. I just do not understand how any law enforcement.
How can they do that when they're the ones that help them get?
They help do it, but Anna, think about it. But they're making Ashley Babbitt, who I have no feelings or thoughts and prayers for, who went there, they yelled gun. They did an investigation. The cop was justified in shooting her, but Trump knows that it's red meat for the base. Let's make this white woman a martyr. And I'm gonna tell you something. This son of a bitch, Tucker Carlson, they should lock his ass up because he's a traitor, because it wasn't a false flag. Look, if it was Antifa,
I saw that trailer.
I saw it too. Right. If it was Antifa or Black Lives Matter or anyone else, I would be the first one to say, no, that's what it was. It was not. It was Trump supporters. And as some of a bitch said, and they're so stupid, I'm going to march down there with you. He got his fat ass in that SUV, go back to the White House and watch it on closed circuit TV. And no, not once. I know it's kind of funny what I'm going to say, but it's the truth. Never once did Billy Bob say to Joe Bob, hold the fuck up. Where is Trump? He's not
Exactly.
Where is Trump?
Right.
But look at what's happening. Most of them were this color. They're getting very light sentences. First of all, if it was people of color, black people, it was Hispanic, but especially African-American, there would have been, the blood still would have been wiped off the stairs. It would take to now to clean off the blood. They would have been murdered. End of story.
They wouldn't even have gotten there, Brad. They wouldn't have gotten there.
They wouldn't. They wouldn't have gotten
there. We would have never been able to smash through a window.
You would have been
climb the bleachers and things. We would have never. They would have called in the guard immediately.
Right.
They would have called
which they held back the guard
immediately.
Yes. And they held back the guard. And this son of a bitch has the audacity to get up there when they finally could get him to speak. And that pussy ass Kevin McCarthy, who stood up to him and said, call your dogs off. And he said, maybe if you were as loyal to me as they are, Kevin. And he told him to go fuck himself. But then next week he was down there kissing his freaking ring.
Can you believe that?
At Mar-a-Lago. Yeah, because he's a sellout. He's garbage. But he gets up there and they finally get him to speak. And he says, we love you. And really?
He sounded
but this is the same guy that said he wishes Maxwell, the one with Jeffrey Epstein, best of luck. She prostituted young girls, and he says best of luck to her.
Right. Of course he does. I mean, we shouldn't be surprised by any of this.
No,
Matt Gaetz is running around. A whole pedophile is running around, and those
allowed to marry and everything.
And those same women that are voting for the Youngkins and for Trump and for all these Republicans are okay with that. But God forbid somebody want an abortion. Oh,
don't get me started on that.
Right. So God forbid that, but he's okay. I mean, it is the party of racism, the party of pedophilia. Who's the other guy? Roy Roy.
Oh, you talking about Roy Bennett? No, not Roy Bennett. Roy
Alabama.
Yeah, the one that was a pedophile that he backed.
He backed him. All the women in Alabama.
Roy Moore.
Roy Moore.
You heard what the women were like, well, they get married at 15 in Alabama. It's okay. Like, excuse me? He was 40.
Right. But you want to know something? I've said this before on my show, and Deb used to be shocked when I would say this, but then she said, you know what? I think you're right. I used to say this, and it's disgusting, but it's really how I feel in the truth.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly feel that the cult of Trump would give their, like a sacrifice, give their young daughter, 9 years old, to have sex with him. And they would have the audacity to say, and I mean this, I'm not doing it to be funny, that they would have the audacity to say to that young underage girl, you should be honored that he took your virginity because he's the president of the United States. But if it was anybody else but their cult leader, it would be rape, it would be pedophilia, they'd want to shoot him.
Mm-hmm.
But if Trump were to talk to, if anybody else would talk like Trump about their daughters, their wives, whatever, they want to take a shotgun and kill them. Trump is exempt from anything and everything he says. And I've never seen this Republican or Democrat ever. I mean, look, just yesterday, here, I give you a talking point. Just yesterday, I promise you, there were Republicans when JFK got assassinated on November 22nd, 1963, that didn't vote for him and didn't like him, but because what it did to the country, that a young president was assassinated, they felt bad. They didn't vote for him, and they rather had whoever was running against him. Fine. So you fast forward now, you have Caroline Kennedy, who's still alive. You have Bobby Kennedy's wife. I can't think of her name. I think it's Rose Kennedy. No, not Rose. I can't, or Ethel Kennedy. She's still alive. You have all of his grandkids. Okay. We know how tragically John died. Talking about John is coming back. Isn't that
saw something about that. What in the world was that?
That is QAnon, where they say JFK Jr. is still alive. And in 2024, the ticket's going to be Trump, JFK Jr. They went to Dallas yesterday, lined up where Kennedy was killed on both sides, and said that he's coming back. And then what happens is when they don't come back, or Trump doesn't get reinstated, they move the goalpost. Well, it was November 2nd. Now it's December 3rd. That's a Trumpian move.
But what an awful, awful way to invoke the memory of John F. Kennedy Jr.
Right.
I remember that plane crash. That was a tragic.
Yes, 1999. Yep.
Yeah, because they hadn't even been married that long.
Right. Right.
It was a tragedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they don't care. There's no respect. They have no respect.
They don't.
None.
Wow. Then they just don't want to learn.
Going back to the racism part, go watch the 2015 interview when Don Lemon interviewed Trump, and he tells Don, I'm probably the least racist person probably like least racist.
Yeah.
Who even says that? And how do you even gauge who's racist?
Racists say that.
Right. Exactly.
Every racist that ever lived says,
right.
Who, me?
Yeah, right. I got a lot of black friends, right? That famous line. I've got a lot of black friends.
I have brought black family.
Right.
I'm mixed. What are you talking about? I can't be racist.
Yep.
Well, you know what?
Oh my God.
Speaking of, I can't be racist. Questions on the white privilege again. How do we get white people to recognize? How do you, Brad, get white people to recognize their privilege? Because we understand that it is as simple as coming out of mom this color versus coming out of mom this color. How do we get it? Really is that simple. You just don't have a burden of being black, and I don't consider it a burden. I love my color, but it burdens us in the housing market. It burdens us in our career. It burdens us in healthcare. It burdens us at the voting booth. How do we get people to understand? That's like
I'm pointing back to me because I'm a white man. It's going to take a large contingent of white people to put, I don't want to say in check, I don't like to say in check, but open the eyes, awareness, teachable moments. It's going to take white people. And let's be honest, during the civil rights movement, my dad marched with King. My dad was white. If you go down to Mississippi Burning, the movie, I believe it was two. I believe they were Jewish. I think it was when they killed the three. It was, I believe, it was one black guy and two Jewish guys. So you see that white people and black people fight for the same causes. You need more white people. And with social media, there's no excuse not to do it, because people that are scared to do it, maybe in public because they get nervous in public speaking, you've got, that's why I always say, and you both have seen me, I don't care if you have 25 followers or 25 million, your voice counts. If you can change the ideology of one person and create a ripple effect where white people understand there is such thing as white privilege, and to understand it and have teachable moments and come together as a grassroots and move up, that's the way to do it. You know, we talk, we didn't get into policing, but that's, to me, it's going to have to come from white people, because for whatever reason, like you said, when a Caucasian person interjects their thoughts into something, and a lot of times they mean well. Some of them mean well, but they don't know how to articulate, and most people don't know how to articulate even in 280 characters on Twitter. I'm always telling people, I don't understand what you just said. You just made a point. Or they go off point of the tweet. It's going to take Caucasian people to teach other Caucasian people. And it's also going to take black people and white people coming together and having teachable moments. One of the effing idiot Trump had the most watershed moment he could have had with a teachable lesson. When Colin took a knee, he could have invited Colin. Look, I always say this. I will take a knee with Colin any day of the week. I stand by what he did. He did insult the military. I'm in the military. These people that complained didn't even serve. They weren't, let alone in the U.S. Army. They weren't even in the Salvation Army. And they complained, okay? He could have brought them together, both sides, because I always say this is America, and you do have not America with 3 Ks, spelled the right way. You could have people that if they don't like that he took a knee, it's your right not to like it. But what I tell people is you don't have the right to change the narrative and why he did it. And that's why I have a problem with them. But he could have brought him to the White House, both sides, not the crazy side that wants to kill him because he's black and took a knee, but people that, well, maybe they didn't understand it or whatever the case may be. He could have brought him to the White House, had all the cameras there, and it could have been a watershed moment for racial equality, police reform, because I'm not for defund the police. I hate that slogan, defund the police. I am for
we won't go into that slogan.
Reform the police, and they screwed up Biden with that because he was never for defund the police, but he got tagged with it. We need police. And you had mentioned something about police earlier, I think, Lana. I'm not a back the blue guy. I hate that flag, because if you have 50 cops and one cop stands by, okay, then he's condoning what the other 49 did. Okay. And I know this is reality, that it's not easy for a cop to come forward because they get murdered, they get death threats, they get fired from the force, they get run out, especially down south. But you have to stand on what's right. You have to stand on what's right.
Absolutely.
And if you call yourself a Christian, or if you have any spirituality at all, whether you believe in God or not, but you believe in some higher power, you have to say and do the right things. And a lot of times, as I say, it comes at a personal cost, and it's not always financial. So,
and that's the thing too. I see allies today as they're not like they were in the 60s and during the civil rights movement. During the civil rights movement, allies, they knew the risks and they were willing to take the risks. They were okay. They knew that if they were riding around with some N-words, they knew what could happen to them, but they believed in the cause and nothing was going to move them away from it.
That's true.
Today's allies, the minute it gets a little hot in the kitchen, they're running off. Or as Honor said, listen, but when we try to redirect you, that now you got to block us. And now I'm talking about Twitter, now you're getting fragile. You don't want to hear what we have to say. Or again, you don't even know the difference between racism and being prejudiced. Like, let's start there. There's just so many basics. And it's like, and I'm glad we're doing this. I'm glad we're talking about it. And I hope people are really taking information from it, because these are real things. Like, we're talking about like our experiences in these matters. Yours, Brad, yours, Honor, mine, just on the Twitter universe. You see it all. You see all the fragility. These so-called allies. I mean, I had a guy, I'm posting Black History facts, and he's like, no Native Americans? Like, what? Like,
Mhm.
why are you coming to my timeline telling me what to post? Two, I actually do post about Native Americans, but that's none of your business. I can post what I want to post.
Whatever you want.
Mhm.
Whatever
I want.
Whatever you
why are
want.
we doing oppression Olympics? Don't tell me like the indigenous and their issues. I get it, but it's not my cause, right? So I'm not going to post a lot every day. I'm not going to be posting about indigenous because that's not who I am. I'm posting about what I know. You know, they come, why are you posting this? Afghanistan is happening.
Right.
Like these are literally allies. People
Yeah,
that
but you're not. But Afghanistan isn't applicable to you. It's not that you don't see it, but you have to. I tell people, speak on what the fuck you know, not what you think or what you hear. It's just like with COVID. We've got the janitor and we got the fucking plumber and the insurance guy who are now experts on COVID.
Right.
You know, and you know, they're going to put a microchip in you, or you're going to grow a third nipple, or you're going to walk past the TV. You're going to walk past the TV and change the channels because you're microchip. Because now they're experts because some schmuck in New Jersey said they know about COVID. It's the same thing. But I get on people all the time, right? And I don't. You see me on my timeline. What you just said, I put on my timeline what I want to put. That's my voice, my platform. I will, just like it's yours.
Right.
Nobody has the right to do it, but you have more people that put in their little bio #resistor, #BLM. I have blocked more resistor #BLM for being jerks because I always tell them the difference between you and a trumpet is a trumpet doesn't hide it. They don't hide. If they like Trump, they're out there. Trump. You are trying to say that you're moving humanity forward when you're just as bad as the trumpets.
Exactly.
With this junior high bullshit.
Right.
You know, we're trying to move humanity. Like I said, move humanity forward, whether it's a small move or a big move.
Right.
And I absolutely understand what you're saying. And it ties into Black Lives Matter, all lives matter. Right. No one's saying that Indian people have not caught it. Women have caught it. Look, I'm going to say this and I'll stand on my soapbox. Black women have it worse than anybody else in this country. Black men catch it too. Don't get me wrong. They do. But Black women have not only the color of their skin, their gender. Okay? I saw it in the military for advancements. I saw it in the civilian sector for advancements. Look, whether you like Hillary Clinton or not, that's your right. Whether you thought she was a great candidate or not, that's your right. But people hate her just because she was born a woman.
Right.
I hate that. They hate Vice President Harris because she's a woman.
Right.
And then she gets a double because she's a Black woman.
And a Black woman, right. But then they want to say she's not Black, she's this, she's that. Oh, shut up, because she's identified. Look, President Obama was biracial. His mother was whiter, probably more, I don't want to say more white, but I got European in me. His mother was very white. He's biracial, but they didn't never said he was biracial. He's automatically Black. That's it. Because you can't possibly have anything else because the color of your skin. Oh, well, this guy is light and this guy is not. And you're from here. I'm so tired of that bullshit. I'm so sick and tired of it. Black women catch it the worst in this country. And it has got to change. And it's only going to change if white people have to lead the cause. They really do.
Right. White women
have to, because they are the ones, unfortunately, that are heard.
Right. White women. You have anything to say, Honor? Because we're going to start to close and wind on down.
Wow, that went quick.
Yeah,
it did go quick. It was an
so
excellent discussion. You made a lot of great points. I'm so glad to hear that you say that, white people do need to be a part of the solution, because we've been saying that, and we've been doing this for a long time. And it is tough sometimes. Like you said, there are personal costs. After those Jewish guys went down and were murdered, they were not the last white people to go down south. It ended up being a joint effort. Just with the Montgomery Boy Boycott, for instance, we started that. We started walking. Black people started, and then once everybody finally got behind it, that's when there was change.
And it's like you said, white women, like you're the key. You hold a lot of the key. Black women hold the key, right? We're a big voting bloc. We're powerful. We're strong. But when we want change and people to listen, that's where you come in and be
Well, I got to
push the message forward.
I got to wait one point on what you just said. And the Democrats, because I call everybody out, doggone Democrats, you need to stop making promises to Black women who have gotten you elected. It can't be talk. It's got to happen. These things got to happen. And the Democrats, if it didn't anything yesterday, I put up a thing analogy. I said the Republicans come with AK-47s and the Democrats come with water guns. They have got to stand up, and they have got to remember the people that got them there and pass stuff, kill the filibuster, do what you need to do for the Voting Rights Act, because it's one of the most important things that are going on right now. Because if they get their way, it's not going to matter anymore. And I'm all for voting, but it's not going to matter if they keep passing these laws and they gerrymandering these districts where people of color is where they're doing it. And that bastard Trump and his cult knew that the places that he was attacking were strong areas that were African-American. But I won't say nobody wants to talk about it, but nobody really pushes it. It should be every day you should hear about that stuff. Every single day.
Right. Absolutely.
The messaging.
The democratic messaging
has got to change.
That'll have to be for another show, but that definitely has done us in. That defund the police, which was not ours.
Minneapolis.
We got tagged with.
And it messed up that Minneapolis. That Minneapolis thing that was on the ballot there. But Brad, I'm going to have you let people know where they can find your show. I know you talked about it earlier, but I want to have you.
All right. Again, the Bad Brad Berkwitt Show. Make sure you subscribe, leave comments. I always personally respond to all your comments. Go to YouTube. It's Ringside Report Web TV channel, and subscribe. And I just want to say to both of you, I love what you're doing. You know that. I DM you. And I like that you did the Black Corner. I'm glad that you did that, because the more content for your viewers is what's going to build your channel. Both of you have strong voices. You ever need me, I'm here. I'm not about a bunch of talk. The rest of my life, however long I got on planet Earth, is dedicated to moving humanity forward, calling people out when I need to, standing up for causes that I believe in. You know, like I said, it comes from my father. My father marched with Dr. King. He fought against Anita Bryant for gay rights. Be on the right side of history. Caucasian people, understand, listen. You have to listen. Use this for the positive. And I'll leave it at that. And thank you guys again for having me on. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
You are so welcome. It was our pleasure to have you. It really was
a great discussion.
And on a note on staying alive, I'm just going to say, get vaccinated, people.
Get vaccinated. I just want to talk about one thing before we close out. Racism, racist. Please stop trying to change racist minds. You cannot change these races. What we're trying to do is expose them, allies. It's not about talking and being polite and kind and trying to get them to see. No, we want to expose them and we want to get rid of them. We want them to crawl back into their tiny holes.
Yes.
And with that said, happy day, everyone. Good evening. Like Anna said, get vaccinated. Get your young kids vaccinated.
5 to 11 was just approved.
11 now. Get your little kids and your grandbabies vaccinated, guys. So thank you, Q Hive. I know you guys are in there. Mary, DA, whoever else, Keiko, Michelle. I don't know. Everybody.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Brad.
Thanks, Brad.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.